In a far corner of the galaxy, on a shiny blue and silver planet named Endarian, a group of very smart alien students was about to start their most important project yet. They studied at the most famous school in the universe, the Intergalactic Academy, where only the best of the best could go. These students weren't just book smart, they were clever, brave, and trained to explore strange worlds. The Academy had a special rule. Before graduation, each group of students had to go to an unknown planet, study its life forms, and write a full report. The more dangerous and confusing the planet, the better the marks. Every year, students picked places like lava moons, gas giants, or cold asteroid belts. But this year, something different happened. 5 students, Zeke, Lorma, Varn, Steele, and Nix, were sitting in their mission lab, looking at a long list of planets they could choose from. Most of the planets were already picked by other teams. Zeke, who had green skin and glowing eyes, was the leader. He liked challenges. He looked at a small, blue planet near a yellow star. Earth, he said, tapping the screen with one of his 4 fingers. Unrated, low technology, high biological activity, not visited in over 400 cycles. The others leaned in. Earth. Lorma frowned. Didn't that planet get marked as too boring last century? Or too unstable, said Nix, brushing her tiny antennae with a silver comb. Someone said it was, messy. That's what makes it perfect, Zeke said, his eyes shining. Nobody's gone there in years. It's off everyone's radar. But look, he pointed to the data. So many species. Water, mountains, storms, predators, plants that make oxygen. It's wild, but balanced. It looks alive. I like wild, said Varn, flexing his thick arms. He loved extreme sports and dangerous missions. Let's do it. Stiput, the quietest in the group, gave a slow nod. Let's go. But we take full gear. They agreed. Zeke submitted their mission request, and in less than 1 cycle, they were cleared to travel. Their ship, the Curious Spark, looked like a smooth silver beetle with glowing wings. It was loaded with scanners, cloaking devices, recording bots, and thousands of nanotech tools. The Academy gave them strict rules. Stay hidden. Don't interfere with life on Earth, and report everything. The team was excited. On the way to Earth, they joked about the creatures they might find. They read old files that called Earth primitive, unstable, and full of emotional bipeds. Zeke laughed. Emotional bipeds? That's a fancy way of saying weird 2-legged animals that cry. They all laughed. Let's see how weird they really are, Lorma said, pulling up pictures of Earth. Look at these animals. Long necks, huge teeth, feathers, fur, scales. It's like someone mixed everything and threw it on one planet. The ship entered Earth's orbit quietly, hiding behind the moon. From space, Earth looked beautiful green and blue, with clouds dancing over it. The students floated near the window, amazed. It's glowing, whispered Stell. It's alive, said Zeke again, this time softer. They began scanning. The oceans were full of massive creatures, whales, sharks, strange glowing fish in the dark. The forests had endless trees, crawling insects, birds of every color. The cities were packed with humans, loud, busy, building, and destroying at the same time. The students didn't land all in one place. Instead, they each chose a different location to study Earth from many angles. Zeke chose a mountain range in South America. Lorma picked a desert in Africa. Varn went to the beaches of Australia. Nix went to a big city, New York. Stell chose a quiet forest in Eastern Europe. Each of them had a mission kit, cloaking suit, translator, floating camera drone, and a personal data recorder. Zeke's first thought when he stepped onto Earth's surface was, it's warm and noisy. Birds sang loudly, bugs buzzed in the air, and wind pushed through the trees. He climbed to a higher spot and looked around. It was beautiful, wild, and full of energy. He activated his suit and went invisible. Then he began to take samples of soil, leaves, and insects. At first, everything seemed easy. He thought, this is going to be a perfect mission. I'll get top marks. But things started to change quickly. On her first night, Lorma was chased by something she had never seen before. It had glowing eyes, sharp teeth, and it ran faster than any creature she knew. She escaped only because she flew into a tree. She later found out it was called a hyena. In the city, Nix was almost run over by a yellow metal box on wheels. She didn't know what it was until her translator told her. Taxi. People shouted. Cars honked, lights flashed everywhere. She had expected to study human behavior calmly, but the humans moved too fast, said too many things, and touched everything. It's chaos, she whispered into her recorder. Organized chaos, but still chaos. Varn, in Australia, tried to observe some local wildlife. He thought the small, bird-like animal with bright blue feathers was harmless. It wasn't. It charged at him, kicking and screaming. His scanner said cassowary. Threat level high. He barely escaped without losing his arm. Single quotes tall, in the forest. Watched a small child pick up a bright red mushroom and run away. His scanner flashed red. Toxic. Deadly. Why would a young one touch something so dangerous? He didn't understand. Back on the ship's communication channel, the students began sharing their findings. Zeke, this planet is more intense than it looked from orbit. I was almost attacked by a group of monkeys. One threw a stone at me, Lorma. I was chased. The creatures don't look dangerous, but they are. Nix, humans are strange. They have weapons, but also music. They fight and then hug. I saw someone cry and laugh in the same 5 minutes. Varn, everything here is sharp. Plants, rocks, even the wind burns. Steel. I don't think they understand how dangerous their planet is. They were confused. Earth looked so normal on their maps. But now, walking through it, feeling its heat, its smells, its endless energy, it felt different. It felt alive in a way no other planet did, and dangerous in ways they never expected. They decided to meet once again at the ship after 5 Earth days to compare their data. But secretly, each of them was starting to feel nervous. Earth was not boring. Earth was not primitive. It was something else entirely. It was wild, it was strange, and maybe it was smarter than them. Zeke sat near a waterfall, writing in his recorder. I think we made a mistake. We thought this planet would be easy to study, but it's full of hidden dangers and the humans. I don't think they know how dangerous their world is, or maybe they don't care. He looked up. A small animal was staring at him. It had black eyes and little paws. His suit told him, raccoon, cute, curious, likes shiny objects. The raccoon suddenly jumped on Zeke's gear and ran off with a glowing scanner. Hey, Zeke shouted. Forgetting he was invisible, the raccoon disappeared into the trees. Zeke sighed and rubbed his head. This place is insane. But even as things got worse, none of them wanted to leave. Because deep inside, they all knew one thing. This mission would change them. They had come to Earth thinking they were the smart ones, the observers, the scientists. But Earth was not something you studied like a rock or a bug. Earth had a mind. Of its own, it pushed back, it tested you. It laughed in your face, and slowly, without knowing it, the students began to respect the strange little blue planet and fear it. Too, they still had no idea just how deadly Earth truly was. But they were about to find out. Zeke, Lorma, Varn, Nix, and Stell had only spent a few days on Earth. But already they felt like they had entered something more than just a strange planet. It wasn't just the environment that was difficult. It was everything. The smells, the weather, the creatures, even the humans. Earth was unpredictable, and when something is unpredictable, it becomes dangerous. Zeke, who was stationed near a mountain range, was trying to observe the local wildlife. He had set up a small camouflage camp beside a river. Early one morning, he woke up to a strange noise. A group of monkeys had found his gear. They were jumping, screeching, throwing stones, and pushing buttons on his equipment. Zeke quickly turned invisible and tried to scare them away by making loud noises. Instead, the monkeys screamed louder, and one of them threw something, a sharp rock, that hit Zeke right in the side of his head. Ah, he shouted, forgetting to stay silent. He ran. The monkeys chased him, and he only escaped by diving into the river. His recorder, clothes, and translator device were soaked. Later that night, he sat beside a fire he didn't know how to start until he copied the humans. His notes were full of confusion. Creatures on this planet are not afraid, he whispered. They attack, investigate, and steal, even the small ones. Meanwhile, in the city, Nix was having her own problems. She had chosen New York City because she thought it would be a perfect place to understand human intelligence. But the city didn't feel intelligent. It felt crazy. On the first day, she tried to cross a street and almost got hit by a speeding car. Her suit stopped the impact, but her translator shouted, warning, metal object moving at high speed, collision likely. The humans yelled at each other all the time. They didn't seem calm or peaceful. Everyone was in a hurry. People ran, shouted into small devices, and ignored everything around them. Nick saw a man spill hot coffee on himself and then laugh about it. She also saw someone fall on the sidewalk, and another person helped them get up. They're strange, she said. Loud, but also soft, angry, then kind. It's like they are two creatures in one. She tried to scan human behavior patterns, but nothing made sense. They slept at strange times, ate food full of poison, her scanner said their snacks contained chemicals, and watched glowing boxes full of fake humans doing fake things. She also couldn't figure out human emotions. One moment they were happy, the next moment, sad. Some cried while looking at a small picture. Others laughed alone in their rooms. I think, she said in her log, humans are not just complex, they're confused. But somehow, they survive. Varn, the strongest and most confident of the group, had gone to Australia. He loved the sun, the sand, and the open spaces. On the first day, he watched the ocean waves with curiosity, but Earth didn't let him enjoy anything for long. He saw a strange bird walking through the bushes. It had black feathers and long legs. It looked too big to fly, so he thought it was safe to observe. He turned on his recorder and stepped closer. Suddenly, the bird turned, made a low growling sound, and charged at him. Varn jumped back. But the bird was fast. Its claws were long and sharp. It scratched his cloak and tore a piece of his suit. Varen rolled away and activated his defense field. The bird ran off, but not before leaving him with a long scratch on his leg. He limped back to his temporary camp and checked the database. The screen flashed. Species, cassowary. Danger level, high. Behavior, aggressive. Why is a bird this deadly? He shouted, confused. Later that night, a group of spiders walked into his tent. He nearly screamed. One of them was bright red and small. His scanner blinked red again. Species, redback spider. Venomous, fatal to small species. He stared at the small creature crawling near his hand. Everything on this planet wants to kill me, he whispered. He slept with one eye open that night. Lorma in the desert had her own nightmare. She was studying desert plants and soil temperatures when she saw a small green fruit. She thought it was harmless. Her food scanner said nothing dangerous. So she tasted it. Her mouth burned, her face turned purple, her stomach twisted. She fell to the ground, shaking. Her suit gave her emergency healing spray, and she vomited for 3 hours. The fruit was a jalapeno pepper. Why does food hurt you on this planet? She groaned into her recorder. She drank 10 liters of water in the next hour and didn't eat anything else for the whole day. Later, while hiding under a rock from the sun, she watched a small lizard crawl past her. Then a larger snake ate the lizard. Then a hawk swooped down and took the snake. She stared at the sky, confused. This is not a food chain. This is a food war, she said. Even still, the calmest of them all was beginning to feel nervous. He had chosen a peaceful forest in Eastern Europe. He liked the quiet and the smell of the trees. At first, everything seemed safe. But one morning, he saw a human child picking up a mushroom with bright red spots. His scanner screamed, toxic, highly poisonous. The child giggled and walked away. Stell wanted to stop him, but the academy rules were clear. Don't interfere. Still, he followed the child to make sure nothing happened. Later, the child's parent took the mushroom and threw it away. The child was fine, but Stell couldn't understand it. How do they survive? He asked himself. They live around death every day, and somehow, they continue. That night, the team connected through their private signal. One by one, they shared what they had learned. Zeke, the animals attack for no reason. I got hit by a monkey. Nyx, the humans, are unstable, happy, sad, fast, slow. No pattern. Varn, even the birds want to kill me. Lorma, their food is pain. Steel, they live next to death and don't seem to notice. They were silent for a moment. Then Zeke said something they had all been thinking. This planet is not what we expected. Nyx replied, we thought it was simple. Primitive, weak. It's not. It's alive, and maybe it's smarter than us. They decided to extend their mission. Instead of leaving early, they would stay longer. They had to understand this place. Earth was no longer just a project, it was a mystery. But as they went back to their locations, each of them felt a new feeling. Fear, not fear of monsters or disasters, but fear of the unknown, fear of a world that looked beautiful and peaceful, but was full of danger in every corner. Zeke returned to his river camp and found all his tools stolen by raccoons. Nyx watched 2 humans fight over a sandwich. Then, 5 minutes later, Varn woke up with a snake in his tent. Again, Lorma was chased by a wild pig while trying to collect sand samples. Chtal saw lightning strike a tree so hard it caught fire. Then watched humans rush in with water to stop the flames and smile afterward. They were learning, but the lessons were painful. They were changing. Earth was teaching them not through books or data, but through chaos. Through fire, water, teeth, and poison, and somehow, they were starting to respect it. They had arrived thinking they were the superior ones. That Earth was just another silly planet with strange animals. But now they knew the truth. Earth wasn't just alive, it was wild. It was dangerous. And worst of all, it was clever. And they were not in control anymore. They were prey. The 5 alien students were now deep into their mission on Earth. What started as a simple school project had turned into something much more serious and far more dangerous. Each one of them had experienced strange, painful, and sometimes terrifying things on this planet, but instead of giving up or leaving, they all stayed. Something about Earth had pulled them in. Zeke had lost most of his equipment to raccoons and monkeys. Lorma had nearly burned her mouth off with a tiny pepper. Varn had survived birds, spiders, and snakes. Nyx was trying to understand humans, but got more confused every day. And Steel, the quiet one, had started to believe the planet was testing them, and now, Earth was about to take things even further. It began with a storm. Zeke was sitting near his camp by the river, trying to repair his stolen scanner. He had found the broken pieces a few miles away, mixed in with trash and shiny objects. He grumbled to himself, using alien tools to reconnect the wires. Suddenly, the sky turned dark. He looked up. Heavy clouds were moving fast. The wind picked up. Trees shook violently. Then came the first flash of lightning, a bright blue bolt that lit up the sky. Then came the thunder, a loud deep roar that made the ground shake. Zeke's eyes widened. He had studied storms on other planets before. but this one felt different. It was wild, angry, alive. Rain poured down in huge drops. Within minutes, the river overflowed and rushed past his camp, pulling sticks, leaves, and even part of his supplies away. He barely saved his drone before it floated off. He ran for shelter, slipping in the mud, struggling to see. Meanwhile, Lorma was in the desert, where it hadn't rained in days. But now, the ground began to shake. It was soft at first, a light vibration, then stronger. Her scanner blinked, seismic activity detected, possible earthquake. She froze. A distant rumble echoed across the sand. Tiny rocks jumped a few meters. Away, a hole opened in the ground, and sand poured in like water. She activated her flight system and lifted into the air, watching as cracks formed across the desert floor. This planet is breaking itself, she shouted, flying higher. In Australia, Varn faced fire. He had set up camp near a dry forest area. All was calm, until he smelled smoke. He turned and saw a wall of fire racing toward him. His scanner screamed, "Wildfire, evacuate." Immediately he grabbed his gear and ran. Behind him, trees snapped and exploded from the heat. The air burned his lungs. Animals rushed past him, kangaroos, snakes, even birds, flying low to escape the flames. He jumped into a muddy river to escape the heat and watched the fire rage across the land. In New York, Nyx wasn't dealing with nature. She was trapped by human chaos. The power had gone out in part of the city. Sirens screamed everywhere. People ran in the streets. Stores closed. Cars crashed. The subway stopped. She stood invisible in the middle of it all, watching people yell, argue, push each other, and still somehow help each other. One man handed out bottles of water. A woman gave a stranger her coat. A group of teenagers helped an old man cross the street. They fight, Nyx whispered, but they don't give up. Even Stell, in his quiet forest, wasn't safe. He saw birds flying away. Deer ran past him. The wind screamed through the trees. Then came a loud howl. Not from any animal he knew. The scanner read, "Wolf pack." Nearby he climbed a tree quickly, and watched below as a group of large gray wolves passed under him. Their eyes were sharp, their steps silent. They were hunters. Efficient, fast, and deadly. Still realized something important then. Everything on this planet moves together, he whispered. When danger comes, the creatures react. They listen. They survive. Later that night, after the storms and disasters passed, the 5 students connected again. They were tired, shaken, and wet. Varn had burns on his arms. Zeke had cuts. Lorma's flight pack was damaged. Nyx's translator was glitching from water damage. Still had bruises from falling out of a tree after the wolves left. They looked at each other through the video link and said nothing for a while. Then Nyx spoke first. "This is not just a dangerous planet. It's wild in every way." Zeke nodded. "It doesn't sit still. Everything is alive, moving, changing, testing us." Lorma frowned. "Even when you think it's safe, it's not. The sun burns. The cold freezes. The plants sting. The animals attack." Varn added, "I tried to make peace with it, but it doesn't care about peace. It just survives." Then Steele said something none of them expected. "I think Earth is training its life forms to survive danger. Constant danger. Every animal, every human, they grow up in a world full of threats, and they adapt." The others were silent. Dots continued. "On other planets, danger is rare. Here, it's normal. So the creatures here, especially humans, are used to it. They live in fear, but they fight. They get stronger." Zeke looked down. "We thought humans were weak because they cry, laugh, and feel too much. But now, I see, it's not weakness. It's how they deal with the madness around them. They've learned to survive this madness." Nyx whispered. "We haven't." Suddenly, the ship sent them an emergency alert. Unidentified energy signal detected near Stoll's location. They all turned to look at Shu Tao. "What is it?" Lorma asked. "I don't know," he replied. "I'll investigate. Meet me there." They packed their equipment quickly and started traveling toward Stell's forest, invisible, fast, and careful. Stell was already close to the signal. He followed it through the trees, through thick bushes, over fallen logs. Finally, he came to a cave hidden by vines. The scanner pointed at the cave. Energy source detected inside. He stepped in slowly. At first, it was dark, but then, his eyes adjusted. He saw strange drawings on the walls, human drawings. Animals, symbols, fire, stars. In the center of the cave, a glowing crystal sat on a rock. It was pulsing. He stepped closer, scanning it. Unknown material, radioactive, traces of Earth energy and alien energy. Possible ancient artifact. "What is this?" he whispered. Just then, the other 4 arrived, landing near the cave silently. They stepped inside and gasped when they saw the crystal. Zeke scanned it again. "This shouldn't be here," he said. "This is not natural. This is old alien." Varn asked. "Maybe," Zeke replied, "but mixed with Earth's energy." Lorma looked around. "Could this be from a past mission? No one has been here for hundreds of cycles." Nyx said, "At least, that's what we thought." They were confused, nervous, and excited. The cave felt heavy with silence. The crystal pulsed softly, almost like it was breathing. Stell touched the rock beside it. Suddenly, the cave shook. A beam of light shot from the crystal and showed holograms in the air, images of Earth long ago, huge animals, falling meteors, fires, floods, volcanoes. Then came images of humans walking through snow, hunting, building, crying, surviving. The holograms ended. A message appeared in alien text, ancient Andarian language. Earth is the forge. Those who survive it are ready. They stared at the message, reading it again and again. Zeke whispered, "This planet. It's not just dangerous, it's a test, a training ground." "For who?" Varn asked. "For life," Shtal replied. "For strength. For evolution." Lorma sat down, shaking her head. "So we thought Earth was the weakest planet, but it might be the strongest," Nyx added, "not because it's kind, but because it forces life to become strong or die." Zeke stood up slowly. "This changes everything. Our report won't just talk about plants and animals. It will warn the Academy. Earth is not to be underestimated." They packed the data, downloaded the holograms, recorded the crystal's signals. Then they left the cave, their minds spinning. They had come to Earth as scientists. They were leaving as survivors. And, deep inside, they knew Earth was still not done with them. The 5 alien students left the glowing cave in silence. The words from the ancient message still echoed in their minds. Earth is the forge. Only those who survive it are ready. None of them spoke for a long time. Their invisible ships hovered nearby, but none of them wanted to leave. Not yet. Not when they were just starting to understand the truth about this planet. They flew back to their temporary base, a hidden spot in a remote forest where human eyes couldn't see them. As they sat inside their ship and uploaded the data from the cave, the room filled with quiet beeping sounds and slow flashes of light. The computers tried to process the old alien language, but even they struggled. "It's very old," said Zeke, watching the screen. "Too old, maybe thousands of Earth years." "Why would an ancient alien artifact be buried here?" Lorma asked. "On this wild, dangerous, unpredictable planet." Nyx leaned forward. "Maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe this planet was chosen for a reason." Varn looked around. "Chosen for what?" Stell finally spoke, his voice soft but serious. "To test life." The others fell silent again. That one sentence explained everything they had experienced. The wild animals, the deadly weather, the strange human behavior, the violent natural disasters. "Think about it," he continued. "On other planets, life develops slowly, calmly. But Earth, life here fights to survive from the moment it's born. Every day is a battle." Zeke nodded slowly. "Even humans grow up with danger. Some don't have food, others face storms, disease, war, or wild animals. Yet they continue." Lorma added, "And they don't just survive, they adapt, they invent, they get stronger." Varn stood up. "So what do we do now? We've discovered something huge. Do we report this and leave?" "No," Stell said firmly. "There's more here." That cave was only the beginning, they all agreed. Something about the planet had changed them. At first, they wanted to complete their mission and return to the Andarian Academy with a report. But now they were part of something greater. Earth had tested them, hurt them, taught them, and now, it was calling them deeper. Their scanners suddenly beeped. An alert flashed on the screen. "Unusual signal detected, human technology, North region." Zeke narrowed his eyes. "That's near a human military base." Stale typed quickly on the panel. "They found something, and it's not human." They stared at each other. If humans had found alien tech, maybe another crystal, or something worse, it could be dangerous. Not just for Earth, but for the galaxy. "We need to see it," Nyx said. So they made a plan. They would fly close in, their small invisible pods, land nearby, and observe without being seen. The journey took hours. As they flew over mountains, forests, and cities, they saw more of Earth's raw power. Flooded villages, burnt forests, roads covered in snow. Yet everywhere they looked, humans were rebuilding, helping each other, continuing to live. "Resilience," Lorma whispered. "That's what makes them different." Finally, they reached the human base. From high above, they saw strange activity. Military vehicles surrounded a tent. Soldiers walked in patterns, guarding something large hidden under a silver cover. Helicopters flew in circles. Lights flashed. No human was smiling. "What is under that cover?" Varn asked. They landed on a nearby hill and used long-range sensors. The results shocked them. High radiation, unknown materials, alien components. Detected. Zeke gasped. "That's Andarian tech. Ancient, same signal as the crystal in the cave," Nyx said. "Then there are more of them," Stell said, "hidden across the planet." "But how did humans find this one?" Lorma asked. They didn't have an answer. But now, they had a problem. If humans tried to use alien tech without understanding it, they could destroy themselves, or worse, trigger a signal to another species, a hostile one. "We need to get closer," Varn said. That night, using cloaking fields and sound shields, they entered the base. They moved like shadows, unseen by cameras or guards. Finally, they reached the center tent. Inside was a black object, shaped like a pyramid with glowing lines and humming sounds. It vibrated with energy. Human scientists stood nearby, arguing in low voices. One of them touched a glowing panel. Suddenly, the object lit up. A loud pulse filled the air. The humans jumped back. Alarms rang, lights flashed red. Unknown device activated. The 5 aliens froze. This was bad. Zeke hissed. They've turned it on. The pyramid pulsed again. Then a beam of light shot upward through the roof of the tent, straight into the sky. The light spread into the clouds like a signal dot far above the earth. Something responded. A small satellite, long forgotten, began to blink. Then another one, hidden behind the moon, turned toward Earth. On a distant planet in a dark corner of the galaxy, a machine opened its eyes. The signal had reached them. The Drexorians, a race that had been waiting, watching, searching, now knew where Earth was. Back on Earth, the humans scrambled in panic. Their systems crashed. Radios went silent. Power flickered. Zeke turned to the others. We need to stop it. Steele nodded. But how? Nyx ran to the control side of the pyramid, her fingers moving quickly across its surface. I recognize some of the symbols. I think I can shut it down. Do it, Lorma whispered. Suddenly, one of the human guards noticed a strange shimmer. In the air, he raised his weapon. Hey, what the? Too late. Nyx dropped the cloak field. The humans screamed. Before they could attack, Varn raised a stun shield. A pulse of light knocked out the lights and the humans. Nyx kept working. Her fingers flew across the panel. The pyramid shook. I can't turn it off completely, she shouted, but I can jam the signal. Hurry, Zeke shouted. The pyramid flashed red dots suddenly. It stopped. The light beam vanished. The base fell silent. They stood there, breathing hard. Zeke looked at the device. We were too late. The signal already left Earth. Stell stared at the night sky. Someone received it. The others followed his gaze. Somewhere out there, something was coming. The 5 alien students escaped before the humans regained consciousness. They erased all recordings and flew back to their hidden base. Inside, they sat in silence again. This is bigger than a school mission, Nyx said. Yes, said Zeke. It's a warning. We found ancient tech buried here. We found messages. Now a signal has been sent, said Varn. Lorma looked pale. What if Earth was meant to stay hidden? What if this place is like a test lab, or worse, a cage? Stell nodded slowly. And now, we opened the door. They didn't know who would come, but they knew one thing. Earth had always been dangerous: storms, volcanoes, animals, humans, but now it was in danger. Something was on its way, and when it arrived, Earth would need to fight again, not just with storms and survival, but with strength, with unity, with everything it had. The 5 alien students had come to observe. Now they were its only protectors. After the ancient alien pyramid sent its signal into space, the 5 alien students knew something was coming. They didn't know how long it would take or how powerful it would be, but they all felt it deep inside. Earth was no longer hidden. Message had traveled far, across galaxies, through wormholes, into deep space, and someone had heard it. For the next few Earth days, the students stayed quiet. They avoided humans, kept their ships cloaked, and watched the skies carefully. They continued to study Earth's data, its weapons, its weather, its people, but something was changing inside them too. They had arrived as curious students, just here to study a wild planet. But now, they had seen its strength, its pain, its beauty, and something more. They had grown to respect it, even care for it. Zeke, once always annoyed and impatient, now stared at the trees and rivers like they were alive. Lorma, who had feared Earth's burning deserts and toxic plants, now loved its colors and surprises. Varn, who had battled wild creatures, had started to understand their purpose. Nyx, who once found humans confusing, now admired their courage. And Steele, always quiet, had found something like truth in Earth's madness. That's why, when the alert finally came, none of them were surprised. Zeke's ship scanner lit up in red. Unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere. Large, size, high energy. It's here, he said. They rushed to their ships and flew up into the sky. High, above the clouds, far from any city, they saw it. A giant shadow moving through space. Sharp, black, and fast. A Drexorian warship. The Drexorians were not explorers. They were not peaceful. They were hunters. A race that had once ruled parts of the galaxy by fear and destruction. The Andarian Academy had told stories of their cruelty. Their ships didn't land. They invaded. The students watched the ship hover above Earth's atmosphere, hidden in the dark sky. Tal spoke calmly. They're scanning. Searching. For what? Asked Nyx. For the crystals, Lorma said, or for something worse. Or maybe, said Zeke, they just want the planet. Suddenly, their scanners beeped again. Drexorian probes deployed. Multiple locations. Small ships shot out from the main one. Hundreds of them. Glowing red. Flying fast. They're mapping the planet, said Varn, looking for resources or targets. Zeke slammed his hand on the console. We can't let them take Earth. It can't defend itself. Are we sure? Stell asked, his voice low. Everyone looked at him. What do you mean? Lorma asked. Earth has been fighting threats for millions of years. It survived meteors, diseases, wars, fire, ice, and even humans. Maybe it can survive this too. But not without help, Nix added. They all agreed. It was time to act. They were just students, but they had seen more of Earth than most. And now, they would fight to protect it. The plan was risky, maybe even impossible. But it was the only chance. They divided the work. Lorma flew to a volcanic area, where the Earth's core energy was strongest. She placed a power amplifier deep in the lava flows, hoping to create a magnetic shield strong enough to block signals. Varn returned to the forests where the wolves had once chased him. He used his scanner to wake the sleeping energies in the ancient trees, roots that carried echoes of the planet's past. With these he built natural communication lines hidden from Drexorian sensors. Nix returned to the humans. She disguised herself as a scientist using a holographic suit and entered the same military base from before. This time, she didn't hide. She spoke to the commanders, showed them proof of the alien threat, and begged them to listen. At first, they didn't believe her, but when the sky above the base flickered red and a Drexorian probe passed overhead, they changed their minds. Humans prepared quickly. Fighter jets scrambled. Satellites aimed their weapons. Cities moved into emergency mode. Zeke flew into the high mountains and planted EMP bursts, small devices that could shut down enemy tech for a few seconds. It's not much, he muttered, but maybe it'll give Earth a fighting chance. Steel returned to the cave. The crystal was still there, still glowing. He placed his hand on it. Earth, he whispered. We are with you. Suddenly, the crystal flashed. It showed new images, not of the past, but of now, the Drexorian ship. The students, the humans, all connected by the same planet. A voice, not alien, not human, echoed in his mind. The planet remembers, and it will protect its children. Stell opened his eyes. He understood. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was alive. Back in the sky, the Drexorian ship began its attack. Lightning flashed unnaturally. Storms formed over major cities. The enemy probes released shockwaves that knocked out power and communication systems. But Earth fought back. Lerma's volcanic shield blocked some of the signals. Varn's forest network spread energy that fried many of the probes. Nix's warning allowed humans to shoot down dozens more. Zeke's EMPs disabled 2 of the largest drones, but the Drexorians were still strong. Then came the moment no one expected. From the oceans, huge waves rose, not natural ones, but shaped, directed, as if the water itself had become a weapon. In the sky, birds flew in giant formations, confusing Drexorian sensors from underground. Magnetic pulses rose, interrupting enemy controls. The planet was fighting back. Zeke shouted through the coms. It's happening. Earth is responding to the invasion. Lorma laughed. We're not alone, Varn added. We've awakened the planet itself. Still, the Drexorian ship was massive, too strong. Then Steele arrived. He flew up into the upper atmosphere, where the main ship hovered like a shadow over Earth. He had taken the crystal from the cave. It now pulsed with energy. Old, powerful, dangerous. Forgive me, he whispered. Then he charged straight into the ship's path. The Drexorians fired at him, bright red lasers. But before the beams could hit, Stell released the crystals. Energy, a blinding light, exploded. The Drexorian ship shuddered. Its red lights flickered. Its engines went silent. Then it turned slowly, painfully, and fled back into space. The war was over. The planet was safe, but Stell was gone. For a long time, nothing moved. Then Zeke, Lorma, Varn, and Nix returned to the surface. Humans looked at them, some in fear, others in awe, but no one attacked. Instead, one human child stepped forward. Holding a flower, she handed it to Nix and smiled. Weeks passed, the students prepared to return to their academy. Their mission was complete, but their hearts were heavy. They had come as visitors. Now they were leaving as part of Earth's story. Before they left, they visited the cave once more. A new crystal had grown in the old one's place. It pulsed softly. Stoll lives on. Lorma whispered, double quotes, yes, Zeke said. In the planet, in us they placed their final message into the crystal. A new message, written in Endarian and human languages. Earth is the forge. It burns, but it creates. It suffers, but it survives. It fights, but it remembers. To those who come respect it, or be broken. Then they left. Their ships rose silently into the sky, disappearing beyond the stars. Back on Earth, humans looked up. Some waved, some cried, some promised never to forget. And in the heart of the planet, something ancient smiled, because Earth knew it had found its guardians, even if they came from the stars.